In 2005, a glitch in World of Warcraft allowed a plague to spread in the game, leading non-infected players to abandon cities while those infected were forced into quarantines. It was later studied by epidemiologists to see how real-life people would react to a pandemic. Interesting, right? Welcome to Professionally Casual Gamers, a podcast where two friends kick back after a long work week and casually talk about everything gaming. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my co-host and Pokemon Pro, Ralph.
What is up, Alex?
Not too much. How are you doing, man?
Nothing much. Busy at work, but I'm glad to be doing this. I'm excited. Less than a month to go for the PlayStation 5. I'm super stoked. You're going to get one.
Sigh.
You
Big
can get
sigh.
one. You're going to get one. You're going to get one.
Yeah, I hope so. I will be... Ralph and I were talking about this. They launch on November 12th, so November 11th, I think I'm going to set up my camp, set up my tent, and wait outside a Target that's a few blocks away.
And I already told Alex that I have PTO plans.
Yeah, for the Thursday and Friday.
5.
Yeah, I might need to do that too. Although if anyone knows, like at work, like, oh, those are 2 convenient days to take off. Wonder what's going on there.
I don't know if I would get judged by people at work if I took PTO. The way they think about PTO at work is like it's your days off, so they don't really care. So
yeah, and that's how it should be for the most part. But I feel like there's kind of a stigma, at least in American work settings, where you're taking the day off and leaving your responsibilities for other people. It's convenient.
Why are you looking at me with such judgmental eyes? You're gonna leave your work for someone else, Ralph? You suck. No.
Emotional cheating.
No. What's great about working at a global company is there's definitely that more European mindset about PTO.
Okay.
Yeah, like my boss literally was like, yeah, it's weird that Americans only take 1 or 2 days off. Like, he was telling me that, every time I have a direct report from America, they always do like maybe a Thursday or Friday, but when it's like Thanksgiving, but when they're in Europe, they take 2 weeks off and they don't care. So
2 weeks, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, so not bad.
Cool. Anyways, today we're kicking off episode 7. As always, thank you to everyone who has tuned in for the past episodes. We love hearing any feedback from all of you. So anything we can improve on, please send it our way. Tweet us, DM us on Instagram, or email us at professionallycasualgamers@gmail.com. We are just happy to be here. Anyways, let's get into the video games. Ralph, what do you got for us?
I am playing a lot of different things. I haven't sunk my teeth into something substantial yet. So last week I talked about playing Yakuza 0.
Great game.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like the story. I think it's really interesting. If you're going to check it out, you need to be prepared to read a lot of subtitles because I believe there's no dub for that, right? I think it's fully Japanese.
I think you're correct.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I like it. I might drop it because I think I'm going to do what you're planning to do, right? Because you're going to play Yakuza 6 or Yakuza
7.
Yeah, Yakuza 7
coming out.
Like a Dragon. So that's a reboot. I like the feel of Yakuza 0. The issue is, just as someone that has a lot of stuff to do and, time is really valuable, it's one of those games where when I play it, it's wasting your time. There's definitely a lot of things where you're wasting your time. I was talking to Alex about this outside the podcast, but essentially there's this quest where before you could even start doing the main story, they wanted you to find homeless people. And then when you found the homeless people, each 7 or 6 homeless people asked you to get them booze, and you had to go to different stores to find their booze, and it definitely felt like something it's one of those games, and I don't know if I have time for that.
I could do that side quest right here in Chicago.
Yeah, that's maybe they're looking for the realism stuff, but I still really like it. It's still on my PC and might keep that download up. But the main thing that I really want to talk about today is Ghost of Tsushima Legends. The new multiplayer mode for Ghost of Tsushima. It dropped on Friday, I believe, and it's super cool. It's super substantial. It's really interesting. I only played it for I want to say maybe an hour, but I'm definitely hooked. It's a really cool concept. And that's my phone. Sorry, everyone. But it's a really cool concept, and I love it. I think, Alex, you should definitely check it out.
It's another game as a service. I have other stuff to play on my backlog. And we were talking about today, we were kind of gallivanting around north side of Chicago, but I don't know. It seems time consuming. I know you only played for an hour, so maybe you can't comment too much on that. I definitely it auto downloaded the patch while I was finishing The Last of Us.
You sound so offended.
No. I auto
downloaded onto my PlayStation. How dare they?
Yeah, how dare you take a gigabyte or so? No, it's cool. So, and given we both loved Ghost of Tsushima, I feel like it's at least worth checking out. I'll get into it.
So I want to talk about a little bit. So Ghost of Tsushima is their multiplayer mode. We talked about it last week, I believe. And it has a really cool concept. So essentially, I believe you're literal ghost. You're ghost samurai or ghost
you're
Ronin.
a dead person.
Right. You're essentially a spirit. So the vibe and the look and feel of the entire multiplayer co-op game is really eerie and cool. There's a lot of red and it's really dark and there's a lot of mist everywhere. And so the gist of it, the story behind it is that because the Mongols invaded Tsushima, there's a lot of demons that started being made.
Because like the negative energy.
Yeah, the negative energy. Okay. So essentially, as a form of defense, the spirits of the samurai, the assassins, or all those people are fighting in the spirit world. That's my guess. That's what I'm thinking.
So does this take a bigger part of like the supernatural and mythical elements?
And it's super cool and it's super interesting, and I really like the aesthetic. It's the way that it's working is that there's 4 different classes. There's a samurai, there's a ronin, there's a hunter, and
like an assassin, right?
Yeah, an assassin. Yeah. So they essentially all play the same, but each one has a no, like the same mechanics as the game, right? So the same gameplay that you would have in Tsushima, but each one has their strengths and weaknesses. The assassin, for instance, has the smoke bombs. So my guess is each class type has some of the different ghost
the ninja tools, the ghost tools. I literally never used the smoke bomb in the campaign. Yeah.
Wait, to be honest, it was super OP.
Yeah. Was it? Okay.
Yeah, because if you smoke bomb and you can assassinate 3 people at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they're different and they're super cool because, for example, I'm playing the samurai right now. I only played 1 story mission, and they have this really cool Japanese narrator. But they have like an ultimate. So the ultimate for the samurai is the multi-strike, where it kills 3 people immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So that's their ultimate. And then the ronin, their ultimate is AoE heal. They heal the entire party. And then with the samurai, they have a special ability just for legends, where if you press the down, it's a separate ability where it's essentially like a lifesteal ability for the samurai. So if you're around other enemies, you will lifesteal other enemies around you.
You'll drain their HP.
Yeah, it's super cool. And it's not even just normal Ghost of Tsushima, because the stories are interesting and they're cool. The enemies are different. They're the same enemies. They're still like Mongol Onis, like demons, right?
Yeah.
But the first mission is there's a story behind where one person, they started taking hearts, like physical hearts from other spirits, I guess, and started implanting them to the other Mongols. So they would be twins. So in order for you to kill them, you would need to kill them at the same time.
Oh, one of those bosses.
Right, but it's cool. But it's not just that. And then I did the other mission where you have to kill a mini boss before you can kill everyone else, because the mini boss just consistently revives everyone else. So I think you should definitely check it out. There's some really cool mechanics and it's substantial and it's free. I was so surprised.
The free thing it's very cool on Sucker Punch's part, for sure.
I legitimately think, I know that you hate games as a service, but I think you are legitimately going to be very surprised to check it out. And I think you're going to like it. And I'm not even joking. I don't know, I've been memeing it this entire time.
Bit, yeah.
But I believe that you're going to be very surprised, because it's essentially just Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer with some friends. And the story and the aesthetic is really cool. And it's awesome. It's something that you shouldn't miss if you've already beaten the game.
Yeah. And the fact that it does play on those more supernatural, mythical elements, I think that's cool. Definitely, it's something I kind of vibe with.
And the story missions, they're duo partners. I believe there's 4-person raids. And I don't even know how that works, but the story missions are made for, just two buddies hanging out, just wanting to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Two professionally casual gamers.
Yeah, but that's something that I think you should definitely check out. Super cool.
Okay, well, since it auto-downloaded, I might as well, right?
I might force you to just play it today. So just watch out for that.
If you can beat me in a best 2 out of 3 in Smash Bros.
Why would you do that? I can't do that. But there's other games that I'm playing. On Game Pass is dangerous, dude.
Yeah,
because I
feel that. Yeah.
I'm playing a little charcuterie board of video games.
Which one's the meat? Which one's the cheese?
Yeah, so I need to be careful because I actually switched to Comcast and I used to have RCN. If you guys aren't familiar, RCN doesn't have a bandwidth cap. Comcast does. So I ended up realizing that because I ended up downloading so many games from Game Pass, I need to be careful because I believe I'm at 700 gigabytes right now for used up data.
Out of how much?
Out of 1.2 tera.
Oh man, you're approaching that.
Yeah, so I need to be careful.
Yeah.
We're halfway through October, so it's not too bad.
Okay.
But I need to stop. So
it resets 11.1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ready for PlayStation 5 downloads.
For sure.
But I did end up playing some things that, never got to check out on PlayStation because they're Xbox exclusives. I'm checking out Sunset Overdrive. That was the one game I really wanted to play.
Is that a Microsoft exclusive?
Yes, it's a Microsoft exclusive. It's a Sucker Punch game, actually.
Yeah.
So it was one of those weird things, if people remember back in the day, where Sony fans were very upset because Sucker Punch usually is a Sony house.
Infamous.
Right. And now,
Infamous too, yeah.
And now Sony bought them, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
But Sunset Overdrive is really cool. I like the aesthetic. It's one thing that I don't like about it is that the characters are a little annoying.
So it's like a third-person shooter, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a third-person shooter. It's an action game. The traversal is really interesting. You end up... I don't know how they build the world. It's an open-world third-person shooter.
Oh, okay.
Imagine a third-person shooter open-world Ratchet and Clank. That's what it is. And as I'm playing Sunset Overdrive, it makes me want to play the next Ratchet and Clank. It makes me want to play it. Yeah. It's funny because the way that they built the open world, everything has rails for some reason.
Oh, you can grind on them?
Yeah. So everything.
Cool.
Yeah. So everything has rails. You grind on everything. It's super cool. The shooting mechanics is really interesting. I love Sucker Punch because the way they make their guns are really interesting, and they have this gun where you throw out a teddy bear and this robotic dog chases this teddy bear and kills all the enemies around the teddy bear.
So it kind of has comedic tones then.
Yeah, it has really comedic tones. The issue with the game is that I don't like the people. I don't like the characters. They're annoying. And
it's like a party, right?
Yeah.
I love the food, but I hate the people. Why am I here?
But I do like the game. It's on the short side, so 8 hours. So I'm going to check that out. I'm also checking out Battletoads. Like I said, charcuterie of video games.
Yeah, so Battletoads is definitely the meat on that board. Love it. Battletoads is cool.
Yeah, I played... I want to say 2 hours of it. I'm almost done with the game. I looked it up on how long to beat. Mm-hmm. And Battletoads, they say it's 4 hours. And it's just fun. It's one of those weird games where...
Do you play with Sam?
No, maybe she'll play with me. But it's just one of those weird games where I didn't know what I wanted to play. I was kind of like, I don't want to play I don't want to play Yakuza 0 right now, and I don't want to play anything meaty. And Battletoads kind of scratched that itch. It's like a fun beat 'em up game. It's actually super funny. There was a line where the bad guy was upset at one of their underlings, and they punished them, and they zapped him, and the other bad guy was saying, "What did you do to him?" And the bad guy said, "I just made him 3 inches shorter. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it'll affect his entire life." So I thought that was super
funny. That's true.
Yeah, so it was great. And then I checked out Crusader Kings 3 for a hot second.
Okay. I saw that it got added to the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Some people are like really excited about it.
The gist of it is if you want to play Game of Thrones, that's what it is. It's too smart for me. It's one of those things.
Yeah, what kind of game is it?
It is essentially a real, not a
RTS,
not a real-time strategy game. It's a strategy game. It's a deep strategy game. You can be any king that you want, and the way that the game doesn't end as long as you have a line of succession.
Oh, so you got to keep having kids,
right? And it's really complicated and super cool. I think I would end up loving playing that game, but it needs to be a choice for me. the tutorial was 2 hours long.
Oh God.
Right, yeah.
Is it so you get to pick like kings from like history?
No, like you make your own.
You make your own. Okay.
Yeah, so the tutorial starts out with you're like a king in Ireland, and then it teaches you, hey, like you want to scheme. This is how you scheme. This person doesn't like you. This is the person you should marry because it increases your whatever. And then this is how many kids that you have. Yeah. And then it's really complicated. I kept it on my PC because I do want to do it eventually. It's just too smart for me right now because right now I just need something to shut my brain off.
No, I totally feel that. Especially like with TV shows,
right?
Especially, right? That's cool though.
But if you want to play something very Game of Thrones like, where hey, everyone's scheming against you have to watch out for all of these people. I was watching some videos the other day about Crusader Kings where they were trying to make a line of succession and they wanted this specific child that they were priming to be the person that would succeed them, but your brother, like twice removed,
not
right.
Third time
no,
removed
seriously.
after what he's gonna pull,
right? But twice removed planned an assassination plot on the person that you want to do become the successor. Yeah, it was crazy. So
yeah, no, a lot of people are excited about it, and like given like the depth you're talking about,
it's definitely too smart for me right now. Right now, I am definitely going to play Ghost of Tsushima until the next PlayStation comes out. Cool. I wholeheartily believe that it's super cool and I love it.
Yeah, and I can vibe with that idea of just wanting to turn off your brain. Right. That's how I felt with Paper Mario, the game that I talked about for literally a month.
Yeah.
And then, I got through that. And then you want something more substantial, more active in your play, which leads me to what I've been playing, which is The Last of Us. So I talked about it briefly in the last episode. I think briefly only because I had only been playing it for like an hour. So I beat it this morning. I was like, because I was on the very last stretch of it. I think I talked to you about it. And I'm like, okay, I have like 30 minutes left, so I need to beat it for the podcast. And I did. I'm super upset that I didn't play it earlier.
Right. So,
honestly.
Listeners, I spoke to Alex yesterday about The Last of Us, and it was one of those things where I brought up to him, Last of Us is one of those games that you would never even think about back in the day, where the sequel ruins specific story beats in that game. I don't want to. Should we do a spoiler alert?
Sure.
So
for Last of Us 1, we can definitely do spoilers.
Yeah. So spoiler alert for Last of Us 1. There's a section in the game where you think that Joel dies, which is Ellie's like pseudo father figure.
Yeah, he's wrestling with someone on the second floor, and they both go down. And Joel lands on like this, I don't even know,
spike, like iron pike, for construction.
And I was talking with Cone, our professionally casual intern, basically, because he was over today and yesterday, and he was like, it's really like too bad that that there's a sequel and that Joel's alive in part 2, because in that part you really feel like he is dead. Yeah.
I was telling Alex when we spoke yesterday, it's a shame that he knows that there's a sequel and he knows that Joel makes it to the sequel, because at that point when Joel goes on the pike and it's super dramatic, Ellie is trying to kill people around Joel so he doesn't die, and she puts him on a horse and it fades to black. It essentially just fades to black. Everything is done. And then the next scene, Ellie becomes the playable character.
Yeah, she's riding on the horse, she's alone.
Right, and it shakes every single person that I've spoken to about The Last of Us. It shakes them to the core because it thinks, oh no, Joel died.
Yeah.
Because you're playing Ellie.
And honestly, like, I had that thought. I'm like, wait, is he dead? And I'm like, oh wait, no, he's alive in the second one. So I'm like, dang it. Yeah. And
it's really a shame because that was probably my favorite heel turns in the game.
Okay, yeah.
It definitely caught me off guard. I didn't cry, but it was one of those gut punches, like, oh no.
Yeah, you kind of you need to register everything. Your brain's like, wait, is this happening? What's going on? Yeah, for sure.
So as a Last of Us 1 player, 7 years later? Is that 7?
Oh man, it was it was like a PS3 end of life game.
Yeah, because the PlayStation, it was a launch game for PS4. As the whatever edition,
the remastered
edition.
Yeah.
So 7 years later, as a Last of Us 1 player, what's your take? What is that a game? Is that a masterpiece? What's your objective score, what's the feeling score?
Okay, so I totally understand why people lose their crap over this game, because it is super good. The gameplay is the weakest part of that game, like, by far. Not that the gameplay is even, like, bad. Like, I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's
okay.
like simple.
But everything else is just super good. So there's, like, I think for a lot of my playthrough, and granted, my playthrough was, like, I want to say 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, kind of the average. There are a lot of times where I just wish I could go through the gameplay. Like, I didn't even have to play it. I could just know what's happening next.
Walking simulator, Last of Us?
I just want to know what's happening next in the narrative and the story and these characters' lives. Because it was very gripping. Yeah, it strings you along. There's so much intrigue as to what's happening next. And yeah, it's hard to say what the score is just because those heel turns you spoke about
is not there for you anymore.
They're not as much, you know. But overall, I liked Ghost of Tsushima more.
That makes sense.
So if I'm giving that an 8.5, right, I would give this, like, personally, like, my personal score, maybe like a 7.5, which is a whole point higher than Paper Mario.
Well, people also have to take into consideration, because Alex knows the sequel.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like if you play this with everyone else, whenever this game came out, I think your perspective of this game is going to be very different, because the story is so gripping. Video games haven't, evolved 7 years in the future, because the stealth mechanics, the way that they do things is pretty rudimentary at this point.
It's fine, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like you jump and you can't climb stuff. It's annoying, and then you carry a ladder. But if you played it at the time, I think you would have better...
It's probably revolutionary for its time.
A better understanding of, like, why it's such a great game. But you say you do recognize why it's something that people love,
yeah,
right?
I respect the game a lot. I totally... Like, I liked it. There was no point in that game where I was like, I would rather be doing something else. Like, my attention was there. This was, as you're saying, an active game. Yeah. Like,
you're not thinking you're wasting your time.
I need to, like, I was down to, like, search every nook and cranny for, like, ammo and stuff. Like, that's usually a mechanic I don't like. I play this on easy.
Yeah. Did you think it was hard still? You don't like shooters, so...
No, not really. There were, like, some parts where I died, obviously, but, like, I was never like, this is insurmountable. Like, the last section when you're about to reach Ellie in the hospital, the surgery room, that was kind of difficult, because there's, like, literally like a whole room of dudes that you need a gun through. But yeah, it was fine, just because I wanted to play this quickly so I could play the second one for Game of the Year talk.
I'm very excited for you to check out the second one.
I'm thinking, like, should I take, like, a small break, maybe, like, beat Kingdom Hearts 3?
I think it might be a good idea to play them back to back.
Just do back to back. Right. Yeah, just be super depressed about everything for a while. And I was talking to Cohen about this, because he's a big fan. He's a big fan of Last of Us 1 and 2, especially 2. He loved 2. So the big thing with, like, Last of Us is you just come there for the zombies. Like, okay, yeah, like, zombies are cool. I'll play this game. But then you stay for
the people,
the narrative, the character interactions. Kind of similar to, like, Walking Dead.
Right.
The main hook to that show really, like, the zombies, like, weren't even, like, that crazy. It was like the characters and the storyline were the most gripping part.
Did you take your time with the side? Like, they're not... It's not a side story even. Did you take your time with the environmental storytelling with that game?
So I know you can pick stuff up, like the notes and journals. I didn't, like, read them really. Did you? Yeah. I know that it's probably there's a
very good one where you go through it. I believe it's after the beach section, but essentially there is this place where you can pick up some notes and stuff, and there's this person that builds up an entire civilization or a camp.
Okay.
And then they find out that there's clickers or zombies, like, at the door, and they have, like, a very good life. And eventually, because the clickers and zombies are at the door, you find out that because they know that they can't leave, they gun down all the children.
Man. Yeah.
They gun down all the children, and then in the final room, he just talks about, like, how, we had, like, this was supposed to be, like, a new start for us, and then, we had to kill the children because we didn't want them to suffer. It was very dark, and it was super good.
And so I did, like, the first couple notes and journals I found, I did take a look at them, because they're pretty short. They're not very time consuming. I'm like, wow, that's It's pretty sad, kind of gut wrenching. So I'm like, I'm just not going to read these. I don't need to feel worse.
I would say you do that for Last of Us 2. I know it's already a pretty depressing game because I talked about how depressing it is. There's some really cool stories for the environmental storytelling.
Yeah, I'll make a note to check this out. Yeah. Because, and maybe listeners were like, dude, this, if you haven't played these games, like, it just says like a zombies, post-apocalyptic, whatever. It's been done over and over. Why is it so depressing? Because really it's the humans are like the real monsters. Like they're
Walking Dead.
They're the real issues in the society. Like honestly, like the clickers aren't even like they're bad. Obviously,
they're
but like
terrifying.
Yeah, you can deal with them. Like you can lock them in like a room, sure. But like the humans in this world that Naughty Dog has built up, they're terrible. Mm-hmm. Like there's a section where there's this town just full of cannibals.
Yeah. There's always cannibals.
There's always cannibals, right? Terrible people.
Was that your favorite part?
That was my favorite part by far. So at the end, like the boss battle and like the burning building when you're Ellie versus that guy, and then you're Joel, you're marching through the town, just gunning everyone down, trying to get to Ellie. Like I felt I was Joel there. I'm like, dude, get out of my way, cannibals! I need to rescue my pseudo daughter. Get the heck out of the way. Like it was so emotionally gripping. That part of the story.
You're talking about The Last of Us, I think you might make Last of Us 2 your game of the year.
The Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No, I legitimately think that you're gonna
over my dead body.
I think you love Final Fantasy VII Remake, but the way I'm thinking about it right now, because you love your literature, you used to be an English teacher, and just the way that you're speaking about, character motivations and
I get
complexities,
super like drawn into
things like that. I think you are actually going to love The Last of Us 2 because you're going to understand the nuance of why they do things in that game.
Yeah, I'm very excited to play that one. However, in terms of Game of the Year, only one of those games is Tifa, Ralph. So,
well, I think you've fallen in love with Ellie as like a daughter. So
yeah, no, her character's great. And then Joel at the end of Last of Us 1.
I have a question.
I hated that.
Do you think Joel, so a lot of people have this conversation back in the day when this game came out. Is Joel the bad guy of Last of Us 1?
No.
Why is that?
Because most of the stuff he does is retaliation.
But the ending, though.
But no, the ending's super bad. Like, I can't.
That's what it is, right? Because essentially, spoiler alert to the listeners again, Joel essentially chooses Ellie, which is
it's classic. Like, so Ellie she can be the possible cure for this pandemic,
virus,
epidemic, whatever. People turning into zombies, clickers, and in order to get the cure from Ellie, they would need to do surgery on her, which would kill her. And once Joel finds out in the last section, he kills basically everyone in that building to retrieve her.
Right. And so he essentially chooses, hey, Ellie is more important than the rest of the human race.
Save the girl or save the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So he chooses. And the other thing, too, at the end, there's a leader of the Fireflies, essentially.
Yeah.
And she begs Joel not to kill her. She said, we'll find another person. We'll just let me live, and then the Fireflies can essentially rebuild. But Joel essentially goes and says, no, because you're try and find
after us. Yeah.
So he murders her, and at the end, Ellie is really, you'll find out more about it
in part two,
but you kind of get it. She feels really broken.
She's hesitant to believe what Joel has told her.
Right.
Like, she questions it
because she's trying to figure out, why is she the one immune, right? And why did all of those people have to die? The friends that you made along the way, Tess, all those people died because they got bit, and Ellie is the one immune. And so it's
like survivor's guilt,
right?
Yeah.
So she's asking Joel, like, is my life not worth it? Why am I the one immune and everyone had to die? And Joel essentially lies to her and says, oh, there's a bunch of other people that are immune to it.
Yeah, like they're just gonna,
you're not special at all. Everyone died. The people that died for you, it was meaningless. That's essentially what Joel was saying. And so she asked Joel if he needed to tell anything, and he lies to her, and it just fades to black, and it's super great.
Yeah, my jaw was like agape after that. I'm like, dude, Joel, like, I don't know. He's such a good character because he's not just good or bad. It's there's some gray area.
Yeah.
But the gray area characters are very good, which is why Cobra Kai was a good show.
Totally diverging from this conversation. I ended up watching the last episode of season 2 before everything else.
Why would you do that?
Because
I hate you.
No. Because one thing was, I don't know what it is. It's so campy that it bugs me, but I want to know. I want to know what happens. What's his name? The other. I don't want to talk about this. Yeah, Daniel. What's his face?
LaRusso.
Yeah, it was just like, why are you so campy? And I hate you. I want to punch you in the face. I want to know what happens at the end, so that I know what happens. Yeah, that's crazy. And let's not talk about that.
Okay, we can talk about it after.
So 7.5.
I think so. Yeah, the gameplay brought it down. Like, it was super. Like, the gameplay was legit like a 5 for me out of 10.
Was Final Fantasy 7 is that a 10?
Oh, I don't know. I'll think about that.
Because I'm curious.
I don't think it's a 10. It's like at least a 9 though.
Yeah,
it's super close.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I'm glad that.
So Last of Us is good.
You liked it.
Probably start Last of Us 2 pretty soon.
Last of Us 2 is significantly longer than 1.
Okay, like double the length, like 16 hours,
maybe 2.5.
Okay, that's cool. That's why. I mean, I would not complain about more Last of Us, to be honest. So that's chill. Another thing we've been both playing is Super Smash Bros.
More so Alex.
More so me. I played a lot of Smash Bros. Yesterday with my buddies.
I played 1 hour because Alex was saying, hey, you need to play Smash Bros. Because of the podcast.
For this second job, you need to know. So yeah, Steve came out, I want to say like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I hate him.
Steve from Minecraft. So Minecraft Steve, not just some random person.
Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman. The skins.
Yeah.
I hate Steve with a passion.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. So since you have a lot of things to say.
Well, okay. So I do have a lot. I kind of want to know what your thoughts are first, and I kind of want to like compound on.
Well, I am not the best source for Steve because I only played Smash Bros. Because Alex forced me to. I played around an hour of it just to lab him in training mode and take him to online. I think.
So you played as him.
As Steve, and I played against some other Steves as well.
Of course, yeah.
He's everywhere, yeah. The gist of it, as I said from the Lost podcast, I hate the aesthetic. They should have Smashified him. He doesn't look like he fits the Smash theme. And as you know, listeners, I'm so big on aesthetic. Like, I don't like things if they're not consistent, but it's fine. I'm sure Microsoft had a thing where, hey, this is the brand for Minecraft, and you need to fit it if you want Steve on the game.
Sure.
From normal, just playing him, he's actually in my head really easy to play.
I would agree
as
with
a player.
That. Yeah.
I think the most complex things are when you use the neutral B, which is the build the blocks.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand how to use it, if I'm being honest, because I know that you can jump and then put the block down.
Yeah, if you jump and then neutral B, you place a block.
Right.
Which isn't as oppressive as people thought it would be given the trailer.
Yeah. But I don't really know how to build shapes. So I know how to build one block and then maybe another block on top of that. But the people that build a straight line with the blocks and then a straight line above, I'm very confused on how people do that. But he seems a little broken. I'm not the best Smash player, but he seems like a very broken character. His down tilt where he does the fire thing comes out really fast. His down air where the iron drop seems very strong.
Oh yeah, it's like Villager's bowling ball
right, but
thing.
Very strong.
Yeah.
I saw some pro players check him out, and the fact that you can side smash someone once you have diamond sword, it kills at 40%.
Yeah, if they're probably like at the edge.
Yeah, so if people don't know what that is, that's very strong.
Super strong.
Yeah. I think if you put Steve in a very competent player's hands that knows the mechanics and that knows how to manage their resources really well, I think that person would run train on any other player. He is very quirky and really hard to play against, I think. and there are some 0 to death combos that I've seen that are true are nasty.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that I wanted to know, I think my favorite move that Steve had was the TNT, actually.
Oh, the down B?
Yeah, so the TNT, what I ended up doing with it is I would put the TNT at ledge, and then I would cover their jump up option. So if they... Right. So either I would do the minecart and jump off and make the TNT explode, or have people get onto the minecart, but I would also cover the jump option with the ledge with the forward air, which is super fast.
Oh yeah.
And I think Steve is very good, and if a pro player takes that person out to tournament, I think it'll break the game. The next Bayonetta for sure. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think he embodies everything bad about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Wow.
So Smash Bros. Ultimate, and some people have, some like pro top tier players have spoken about this too. It's becoming a very campy game, especially in Wi-Fi. Right,
you think Steve is I guess, yeah. That Steve
right. So
campy.
his whole kit is he needs resources.
Right.
Like that. The only I think literally the only drawback to his kit is he needs resources.
Right.
Okay.
But it's not even hard to get the resources.
Right. But that's the thing is, the trade off to that is for all of his moves, they come out quick. He has, I think, the best grab in the game.
I think it's negative though. So it has good range.
Startup,
but yeah.
The thing about this grab is it goes up and then it levels. So if you're jumping, if you're like doing a short hop at him,
it's a range
the grab will still, it's a tether, the grab will still hit.
And then I believe people that don't play Smash are not going to understand that, but I believe the grab, his down grab combos out of it too, right? I'm pretty sure.
Maybe, yeah. So he is campy by nature because he just wants to get more material. So he will force you to approach him. And then because, as Ralph kind of said and echoing onto this, his frame data is amazing.
Yeah.
His aerial frames are awesome. They cover a wide breadth of range too. And his side smash, actually, like, there's a lot of quote unquote hitbox porn in Smash Ultimate.
Oh my god.
Like where he leans back a little bit and then he lunges forward for the
so it's
side
like a
smash.
dodge too, right?
A little bit, yeah. Like Toon Link has that as well. And again, it covers
and
good
he
range.
he can run during his jab, which I've seen a lot of people
break. So you can combo into that and then into like a spike.
Right. So what I've seen people is do forward air, jab, 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 all the way to the edge.
Yeah.
And then spike with the pickaxe, which
I think it's forward air,
yeah.
And then, even if the spike doesn't happen, you'll hit them further off stage, and then you have, I think, like at least four edge guard options.
What I've seen people do is do the TNT at ledge, and so if you're fighting against a Crom, it's a Crom, a Fox, anyone that has hitbox for their
also since
recovery,
like
dies.
Fox's is fire, like it'll literally set off the TNT immediately. Yeah,
so funny.
So he by nature is meant to be campy, and he doesn't his only downside is again it needs resources.
So you're gonna play,
but again
Steve?
his kit is built to get resources very easily, whereas Min Min, she was meant to also be campy, but she had clear downsides, and that's why no one plays her anymore, because those downsides are very exploitable.
Also, Min Min, I feel like I think Steve has very strong staying power for the rest of Ultimate. I'm sure a lot of pro players, a lot of normal players are going to pick him up. Min Min was a flash in the pan.
Yeah, she really was. It's just, she has clear strengths, but she has very clear weaknesses. Yeah. So in regard to your statement that Steve will be the next Bayonetta, yes and no. I don't actually know. I don't really think I agree with that. So Bayonetta was literally she was just better, easily better than the rest of the cast. And even if you weren't a better player, you could still easily beat someone in Smash 4 if you're playing as Bayonetta. The thing with Steve is
it's complex. It's not a pick up and play character. It's
more complex, and it's literally just he's campy. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you do know how to deal with that, and again, I'm not a professional Smash player, but in but I'm an elite Smash with some of the characters I use, so I'm competent at the game, let's say. For those level of people who are just playing online, it's just super frustrating because he will always force you to come at him while he's getting resources and getting stronger, and then with his amazing frame data, he will punish you.
Yeah.
And Another thing I want to mention before you go on is he doesn't lose his resources.
Yeah, when he dies. Yeah, I noticed that.
So Joker loses the persona, the Arsene bar. Cloud loses his limits.
But if you have gold,
Olimar loses his Pikmin. Yeah. There's probably like another character who has resources as well. But so if he has a weapon equipped, he will lose that weapon, but the resource bar stays the same. So essentially, he gets stronger as the match goes on, in a sense.
So Alex is like, nerf him immediately.
I'm just not a fan of him because he's anti-fun to play against.
Right. One thing that I have noticed with a lot of the combos, like I said, I'm not a Smash player. I play Smash with Alex because it's fun, but I'm not going to be the person that's going to do tournaments and train every single day to be better. Just not my type of game because it's pseudo platformer.
Yeah, your favorite.
But one thing that I've seen, yes, I agree that he is campy, but what I've also seen is that I've seen players that have not done the resource thing immediately with him. I've seen players that have done like 0 to 60 kills with Steve just by weird, interesting things that they've done with the blocks. Have you seen those? Where
I've seen a couple of YouTube videos.
Yeah, essentially what they would do is they would do probably like a down grab into an up air and then another up air, drop a block, because usually the up smash is really delayed.
Dude, that up smash is insane.
So the up smash usually has a huge delay, but I don't know if you know this, but if you have a block underneath you and you up smash, it cuts the delay, and then you can jump up again and then put another block down, up smash, and it kills them.
Yeah. Because
you're so high up into the air with the blocks, and it's crazy. I've also seen other people that have used the blocks as launching points. So untechable moves,
right.
And it's crazy. I really do think that in the next couple of months, as better players get to know how to use that play style, it's going to be a very dominant force in the game. I don't know if Steve's immediately going to get nerfed, but I see that you really do not like him.
I don't. And that is a good point to bring up, is how like he will be in the professional scene. So it could just be me being super salty and angry about him, but maybe like no pro will pick him up because he's trash in their eyes. So I wonder how he'll do. One of the reasons why Smash Ultimate is one of my favorite games, it's probably my favorite Smash game, is the in regard to character viability. Mm-hmm. So if you watch any Melee, you'll see like the same 3 or 4 characters.
Fox.
Yeah, Fox, Marth, Falco, Sheik, whatever. But in Ultimate, if you kind of keep up with the competitive scene, if you watch any of the tournaments, you can win with like any character.
Yeah.
You really can. Sure, there's some that are... Yeah, right. Sure, there's some that like they need buffs, which props to Nintendo. They've been doing well with those buffs. But yeah, character viability is very strong and healthy in that game. Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, that's Steve. Not a fan of him. He's the flavor of the month. So if you play online, you will definitely have your fair share of Steves to fight against.
Still looking for my main. Give me someone good.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Incineroar, Bowser, or Plant. You play Plant.
I like Plant.
Yeah. Plant Gang, baby. Rise up.
For sure.
If you've been playing Steve, definitely let us know if I'm overreacting. I think, Ralph, you're pretty level-headed about him. Or if you agree,
I just
that
don't care enough.
Okay,
right? I'm not about to go on Elite Smash.
Cool.
My GSP is at 200K, so
200K or 2 million?
200K, Alex.
I feel like I don't believe that because that's so bad.
It is bad. I'm being serious because they knock you down. I literally, what ends up happening is I end up winning a couple from that 2 million, get up to like 6 or whatever. And then once I get to 6, everyone keeps on beating me. And then they bring me down to like 200 and I'm done. And I'm like, I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, 6 mil is when people get pretty darn good. But
yeah, I don't know what it is. There's something weird about the matchmaking for Smash. I really don't understand it.
Yeah, and then there's the actual internet connection, which is a whole nother thing. But yeah, so that is what we've been playing. It's been a lot. It's been fun. Well, it's already 45 minutes in. Okay, let's move on to some of the industry news, shall we? Not a whole lot of stuff, but there have been some fun little tidbits that we've come across. So the first one is, this was yesterday actually, it was Friday. Joe Biden has an Animal Crossing island, apparently.
Ooh.
Pretty cool. So our rivals kind of
even see that you wrote that. Rivals.
Yeah, our rivals, our fellow video game podcasters. We're on the same level.
We're on the same spectrum.
If you're hearing this, Greg Miller, I respect you because he also is a huge fan of Portillo's. Named his dog Portillo. Yeah. So that's cool. Anyway, so our rivals, Kind of Funny Games, to the hosts, Greg Miller and Gary Whitta. They streamed an event yesterday on Twitch showing off the island to support the presidential candidate, Joe Biden. Honestly, I'm a big fan of this use of creative marketing. The island was filled with tidbits that gave visitors an insight about his campaign and actually him as a person. For instance, there was a room dedicated to like model trains.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was like big into trains.
Neither did I.
There are mostly dogs on the island, so he's a dog person. Granted, like if anyone dislikes dogs, they're probably a psychopath.
Shouldn't be president.
I dislike.
If you don't like dogs.
I dislike dogs when they're licking my face incessantly. But that's another thing.
Is that a shot at my dogs? No. I'm offended.
It is not. One of my other friend's dogs licks like inside my ear.
That's gross.
That's a little gross. Yeah.
They will go in your mouth.
Cute dog, but like yeah. And then another thing about. There was like an actual Joe Biden avatar on the island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and villager, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. And he says like no malarkey.
Yeah.
I guess that's his thing. That's like his. Yeah, I didn't know that was like his trademark saying either.
Yeah.
But.
So what intern made this island for Joe Biden?
Exactly. That's where like there's no way Joe Biden actually did it. But he had to at least like to like okay yeah like this is some stuff about me. It'd be cool if you could add it whatever. So I like it. I don't know like you're bigger. I've never even played this newest Animal Crossing. I've only played the one on the GameCube. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. You didn't have a chance to look at it, but like, do you think you're gonna like hop in and see his island?
Honestly, yeah, dude. I know that there's the reason you could do is they added this new thing called dream hopping or dreamscaping.
Okay, so that's what that is.
Yeah,
I had mentioned Greg and Gary talking.
Right.
Yeah.
So normally in Animal Crossing you can only visit islands if you have the Dodo code or whatever that is. But they from friends, so that's how you'd go to someone's island and they need to invite you in there. They added this new feature called dreamscaping or dream hopping. I forgot what it is.
Something like that. Yeah.
You go to bed and then you go to someone's island if you have the QR code or the code. When you go there, you can't do anything destructive on the island.
Okay, so you can't like mess with their island or change anything.
Right.
Okay.
Because the only way that you could do that normally is if you have a friend, they say you're best friends, and then you could pick flowers. You could pick.
I can be best friends with Joe Biden?
No, I don't think so. And I'm sure it's not Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden's intern that spent 60 hours to build the Animal Crossing island. But I think it's a really cool and interesting move. I do want to visit it because it is an interesting moment in video game history.
Yeah, for sure. In our presidential history.
Right. It's fascinating, right? So, just presidential history in general, different platforms that are trying to attract younger voters to vote. I think it's cool. One thing in particular that I want to do is I want to go to the Animal Crossing store in the island. So one thing you didn't know, if you have any custom designs in Animal Crossing, you can display them at your tailor shop. In Animal Crossing, when you visit an island, you can pick up those clothes, and I kind of want a Joe Biden.
He had like the Biden Harris. Yeah, shirt. Biden. You can like have your avatar wear that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm super. It's super cool. I think they made some custom stuff like voting booths and things like that.
They did, yeah.
Which takes a lot of time and effort, and I'm really impressed by whoever on his campaign team said, "Hey, I think this would get us a lot of attention," and it did.
Shout out to that intern, bro.
Right. Maybe not an intern. Probably an intern.
Whatever, someone on his team.
Let's be honest. But I think it's super cool, and I'm glad that we're seeing something like this that will reach other people that may not be paying attention, right? Because I believe this next presidential election is very important, and it's going to be very divisive.
For sure.
One thing that I appreciate a lot about the island itself, it just tells you how to vote.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
Well, it really does. It's really like, hey, go to this website. It'll create like a little plan for you how to do it. There's also like they built a White House.
Did they?
Yeah, like all the way in the back. It's super cool. So I didn't watch Echo's stream. I just watched a VOD of it on YouTube. So if you do want to watch it that way, you can. Feel free to. But yeah, I like that they're doing this with video games because I'm not huge into politics.
Right.
I understand they're important. It's just it doesn't really catch my ear like that.
You'll vote.
Politics are kind of like fruits and vegetables. I know
The
they're
fruits
super
and vegetables of being a human being.
Yeah, I know it's super important, but I'm like, maybe not today. I don't know, maybe later.
Remember that, guys.
Yeah.
Alex, politics are kind of like your fruits and vegetables. Maybe not today, guys. Who
I
knows?
feel like that's a fair analogy. But like, because of like the past 4 years and the upcoming 4 years, like my ear has been closer to politics this time around. So, and I know,
man.
I know I'm not
this
alone.
Is so funny.
I don't know. I know I'm not alone in the sentiment that like I know it's important, but I don't know. I can't get into it that much. So this is a nice way. Like, hey, I know you might like video games. This is my way of reaching. This is like my attempt to get your attention. So I think it's cool.
No,
I think it's cool. Hopefully in the future, like, and I know like Andrew Yang, he did like Twitch streams.
Dude, Yang Gang is the best.
Hashtag Yang Gang, baby. Rip.
I was gonna vote for Yang Gang.
I was
man.
too. Hopefully next time.
Right? Yeah. What do you call it? Yeah. Alex is just saying, all those people that died, so I can vote. Don't care. It's fine.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Not what I'm saying at all.
No, I really do think that the Joe Biden island is going to be. It's really cool. It's interesting. This presidential election is just super weird. It's very muckraker. I think I was talking to Sam about it. Did it have any negative reactions to it?
The island?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There was something negative about it. If I'm down to move on to the next question.
Oh yeah,
Are
sure.
you okay with that? So I didn't know this at the time we were watching, but like Greg Miller is he's very democratic,
right?
And I follow him on Instagram. I don't know if you do too.
Mm-hmm.
Like on his stories, like he'll just like have him wearing like the Biden Harris thing. He'll like tell people like, hey, like go vote, yada yada. And not even like go vote for Biden.
Yeah.
So, obviously kind of funny is Domly a video game news outlet. I was like 95%. That's a fair statement. How do you feel about Greg and Gary using their resources, their platform, their rapport for something other than what it's intended for?
To be honest, I don't really find an issue with that, right? That's the same thing as like how the American Science Association is endorsing Biden. Right, it's the same thing, right? Where doesn't really relate to politics, but the American Science Association is endorsing Biden because they think he is a better fit for president, right? Mm-hmm. That's the same way as other celebrities like Taylor Swift or Kanye West endorsing Trump, right? Yeah. It's the same thing, right? Something. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are going to be critics where they say, hey, like, don't pay attention to your celebrity shouldn't put their space into politics because you don't have a voice for there. But for a lot of those people, at this point at least, because they have their audiences, they want to showcase their voice and see how they can help out at least who they think should be the fit person to be president, right? So it's kind of one of those things where it doesn't really bother me as long as you really know what
you're talking
what
about.
They're talking to and who it's coming from, right? Sure, yes, they really talk about video games, but that doesn't make them irrelevant. It doesn't change the fact that they have a perspective on politics themselves. I know for a fact, you're a little bit surprised that, Greg or Gary, brought up their ideals about, Biden and things like that. But I knew they were pretty democratic a while back because I also listened to their other podcast, which is like just their kind of funny podcast where
Intel on the Enemy. Good. I like it.
They talk about other random stuff like how many Wahlbergs are there? Just random things like that. But I know for a fact that they weren't as vocal about the presidential elections or just politics back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kept it pretty hush-hush. I think right now they're very vocal about it.
Yeah, because this is going to be a super important
very
election.
different
Not that any presidential election isn't important, but this one more so.
Very divisive for sure. What do you think? Do you think it's fine or do you think it's an issue?
I was a little back and forth on it, but I think overall they're passionate about it. They have the audience. I think it's fine. I think it's good because they're doing something that they support in their own way. And I mean, it's kind of a medium where like it's still video game related, right? It's not just like totally.
Well, they did have an episode that said vote for Joe Biden.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a kind of funny podcast where you're just like, vote for Joe Biden. This is why.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I feel like I would have an issue with it if it became more dominating in their the gamut of like all the video game stuff they talk about. Like if they became not just like a video game podcast or news outlet, but they became a video game and now politics because of that. I feel like that would kind of raise an eyebrow for me, but they don't do it often.
Right.
This is just kind of like an outlying situation. So I'm down for it. I think that, like what you were talking about earlier, like, did it get any negative reception? I think that was like the only thing.
Yeah, I think
because he did say
yeah.
some
I'm
pretty
sure.
like negative things about our current president.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I agree with his political stance. But if like one of his fans is a Trump supporter and they heard that, like, they'd be like, man, like, why are you doing that? Like, I'm just here for like your video game talk and whatnot. So it is what it is.
There's
but,
other people out there that, you know, they listen to these podcasts. I don't want to think about politics. I don't want to think about anything else. And it's kind of like an escapism thing. And I totally get that. But sometimes, you know, when push come to shove, someone needs to share their perspectives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, if you ever want to talk about politics on here, I feel like
Minisode.
We could, yeah, we could just definitely do a mini-sode. But, you know, we'll always be dominantly video games. I think Kind of Funny will too.
Look at Alex trying to show for us, like, hey, you know, if you don't want this politics talk, come listen to kind of, professionally casual gamers.
Yeah,
everything.
Forget that. But there are rivals, right? Just throw them on the bus.
Rivals. I fucking love that.
No, but it's cool they did that island thing. It's cool they had the chance to host that little Twitch event. Using your platform in a way that you feel is significant. I don't see anything wrong.
It would
with
be
that.
crazy because I know Gary Whitta. I don't know if you're familiar with Gary Whitta.
I know he's an expat.
He wrote Rogue One. He's a huge like essentially like a celebrity writer. He wrote Book of Eli too and stuff like that. But he did end up becoming like a very big Twitch streamer because of the Kind of Funny stuff. He has this Animal Crossing talk show.
He has an Animal Crossing talk show?
So he had an Animal Crossing talk show, and it would be interesting if he ended up having Joe Biden on the show. That'd be crazy.
That'd be cool.
That'd be amazing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's fine. Nothing too crazy. It's not all the time, right? Like you said. But yeah, Joe Biden. Animal Crossing Island.
Animal Crossing.
Go visit
Interns, yeah.
Interns.
So yeah, definitely visit the island. If you take you can take like a selfie with the Joe Biden avatar too. He's like chilling on the beach, I think. Shoot our way. Message us on Instagram about it. We'll be able to we'll post that. That's
Pick
cool.
up a Biden Harris shirt. You know what I mean?
Exactly, for your avatar. That's super cool. In real life, maybe. I don't know. In other news, Genshin Impact, the game that Ralph and
Genshin Impact!
He's got this stupid smile on his face right now.
I stopped playing, but it's still a great game.
Because it was like a drug in your life. Yeah.
For that 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it won the PlayStation Player's Choice, or, you know, it's Game of the Month for September. And this isn't just like some random company giving this award out. This is actually Sony. This is actually PlayStation giving an award out for a game.
That's actually crazy in my head. You know why? Because Genshin Impact came out on the 28th.
Yeah, super late for September.
Super late of September. Wow, that's crazy.
And it won people's hearts super fast. And to put things into perspective, some competitors it had were Marvel's Avengers.
Trash. Garbage.
Honestly, yeah, trash. And also Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake.
Which people loved.
Yeah, it's not like that huge of a deal, but like it was really nice nostalgia. Great freaking soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. So I was surprised. I think I was a little surprised about actually that Genshin Impact, this like mobile kind of game.
How dare you? Why do you say that in such a disparaging way?
I guess I did kind of.
Mobile
yeah, look
game.
down on it. Opposed like Marvel's Avengers, which like the marketing campaign they did for that game, like everything they did just to get it out of the door and get into people's heads was crazy. I still get emails. Like I get personal emails from Square Enix like, hey, here are your player stats and whatnot. Compared to everyone else. That's super cool.
They did say I'm in the top 5 percentile.
Yeah, because there's like 10 people playing the game right now. I'm probably in the top 5 too, and I haven't played for like a month.
Same. So
yeah, I mean, this hurts even more considering that Marvel's Avengers, again, it's a game as a service. So again, it lives and dies by the content's pulling out, which then in turn gets more players. They delayed their DLC, which they already don't have a lot of content. So the fact they're delaying that is like there's like a famine in that game essentially for content. And they also delay the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S version. So again, the cross-gen upgrade, they delay that into, you said, like next year, I think.
Yeah, both of those are being delayed to next year, which is crazy to me.
So if people wanted to play it, they would need to hold. You wouldn't need to hold on to your old system, but it wouldn't get the upscale. You would need. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you would still need. If you bought digital, it would auto upgrade. Yeah.
If you have the disc, you would need to keep.
Yeah, it's
that
still
around.
Compatible, but it's not the upgraded version that we would want. So, Ralph, question to you: do you think Genshin Impact deserved this esteemed honor from Sony?
To be honest, I didn't even know this was an award until you brought this up.
I didn't really either until it made big news. Like, wow, this game beat out Avengers and the other.
Do we know the criteria? Is it the amount of players? Is it the people that are voting?
They had very brief criteria, just that they wouldn't allow remasters or light remakes. So Final Fantasy VII Remake and Persona 5 Royal would probably make the cut, but something lesser Final Fantasy VIII Remaster, they wouldn't consider that.
Sony was probably just finally a Legend of Zelda on the PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
Right, so I think Genshin Impact definitely deserves it. As a free-to-play player, and anyone that wants to jump into that game, that is a good game. Honestly, I know Alex said that it was too grindy for him, but if you just experience that game, to explore it, to fight some enemies.
Yeah, it's if you like Breath of the Wild and that just random exploration, just cool world building and being able to explore it that way. Because, you can't really go outside and explore that much right now, so why not do it in Genshin Impact?
You know what? I'm going to say it, and I might die on this bridge.
Uh-oh. But die on the hill, yeah.
Right, yeah. Genshin Impact, better game than Avengers.
Better
game.
Man,
think about it. Think about it. So you played a little bit of Genshin Impact, right?
Yeah.
You played all of Avengers. I think Avengers has really great moments. I think the single player campaign and the story beats there
campaign was fun.
Are really cool and they're amazing. But are there bugs in Genshin Impact? No.
Not that I encountered at least.
It's content full. The characters are endearing. It has a really good gameplay loop, and honestly,
man, Ralph, you just play it still.
I know. I stopped for a reason, but if, in your opinion, do you think Avengers is a better game than Genshin Impact? Right. So you played both of them. Where are you at? Obviously, I'm a little bit more positive about Genshin Impact, but the fact that I'm thinking about it, and I love the Avengers, I love that cinematic universe. I started looking into some of the comic book stuff.
That's why it's super disappointing.
Right. If Avengers wasn't an Avengers game, right? Let's say it was just interesting superhero, whatever, just vanilla superheroes. Would you still think it was a fine game? Do you know what I'm trying to say? If it did it have the Avengers trade marks or what you call those characters, the moment to moment gameplay, do you think it would still be a good game?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's a good game, even with the Avengers. Yada yada.
Fun.
Yeah,
a little bit with your dude.
Captain America. I mean, the thing is, the thing we got out of that game wasn't what Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix were intending.
You hang out.
They were
with
intending
Alex.
They were intending us to keep playing it, right, and have the idea to play it more in the future. Maybe we'll dip our toes when Hawkeye's release, but probably not for more than a couple hours. I would imagine. I don't think so. Yeah. At least maybe I'm wrong. So, I don't know. I think I'm disappointed by Avengers. Do I think it would have done well if it didn't have the Avengers brand and all that? Probably not. Probably not even. I didn't do well. I don't think it would have done as well as it did, I guess.
Well, for you, right, even with the Avengers brand, do you think Avengers is better than Genshin Impact? You played a little bit of Genshin Impact. You played a little bit of Avengers. Even with everything, we like the story, right? I thought Kamala Khan was cool.
Yeah. So I think the single-player campaign, the narrative, the plot, the story of Avengers is better than Genshin Impact. Granted, I haven't beaten Genshin Impact, so I don't think I ever will. You've gotten further than me in it.
I don't think that's a game you beat.
Okay.
If I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, so I think the single-player stuff in Avengers is better than Genshin Impact. But the multiplayer stuff in Genshin Impact blows Avengers out of the water.
You didn't even play multiplayer. I haven't even played multiplayer.
But I've heard good things. Yeah. Or it's fun. And it seems more intuitive what your comp will be. Because the different elements, how you can compound them. I don't know.
I think the combat is more interesting, and that's
I
really
think so
just
too.
that's really just a shame. And what's embarrassing for Crystal Dynamics, right? And I'm not trying to say that being a video game developer is very hard, right? I'm sure there's a lot of issues there. There's something that came up, someone screwed up a milestone, or the deliverables were wrong or something like that. But it is a little bit embarrassing that this game, Genshin Impact, that was essentially something that people were like talking down about because it looked too much like Breath of the Wild.
A copycat game,
It is a shame that one, they beat that game for this award, but two, I think Genshin Impact's next update is in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, so their roadmap of content is way better than
they're already ready. They have new champions coming in. I don't know if they're adding a new region.
Okay.
It's a little bit embarrassing that you have this huge brand, Avengers, and you have this unknown brand, Genshin Impact, and it's blowing it out of the water.
Yeah.
And people are talking about that game, and people are very positive on that game, and it's a free-to-play game, and it's a gacha game. Even if it was a gacha game, people are still liking it. That's what's embarrassing about it.
Yeah, embarrassing is a very good word. It's very apt for the situation. Too bad for Avengers. It literally, it had everything
going for it.
And it tripped at the start line.
Should have been a single player game. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, I think more people would have just enjoyed it.
It would have been more polished, and it would have been better.
Maybe with a light co-op option.
Right.
That would have been cool. Anyways, more on the Sony side. Sony earlier this week unveiled the UI, the user interface for the PS5 main menu. The unveil itself was a surprise. I think I found out about it
Burger King?
literally a day, that day.
Do you know how they teased it?
The Burger King sound, right?
I was like, why is this
Sony and Burger King, they're doing a promo where if you buy 2 menu items or whatever, a meal, you raffle. Have a chance to win a PS5, which is cool. But the surprise was a nice thing to wake up to, and just this is the top trending thing on YouTube. So that was cool. I think it seems very similar to the PS4 UI right now, which is not a bad thing because I really like the PS4 user interface. What do you think about it?
I didn't watch the entire thing. I watched probably maybe half or maybe 70% of the thing.
So I watched it after the fact, so I was able to kind of fast forward to the YouTube video.
Did they show the dash? That was what I was interested in.
The dashboard?
Yeah, the dashboard where in PlayStation you have the little things this is your
boxes.
movies, this is your games, whatever. Did they show that dash or no?
They didn't go into the specific
ones. They only showed
ones.
the cards, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to see what the dash looked like because I wanted to see if it was snappy or if it was still super slow.
Oh, okay.
There are some things on there that I don't think I will ever use. I think it's super cool and it's really interesting. The one thing that they added that I think kind of has some value, I don't know how well integrated it's going to be with the other games other than first party, is the cards where it shows you the amount of percentage that you have left. So I think Sony's trying to get rid of how long to beat. They're trying to get rid of online guides. But that was really fascinating to me as someone that's all right, how much time do I have to play this game? How much is left? If that's fully integrated, if that's how they want to do all of their games moving forward, that it's a requirement if you want to be on a Sony platform, it would be great to just understand that, all right, in this chapter, for chapter 1, how much is left?
Yeah, right? It's a nice thing to know. I don't think it's make or break. If they didn't have that, I wouldn't even notice, obviously, but it's okay, that's cool. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
And then the other thing that I do is, what do you call it? The videos, the tutorial guides. Like I said, I think what's gonna make or break these UI additions is how well adapted they are by other games. If other games are saying this is too much work, I don't want to add this, then it doesn't make sense. So it's just going to be one of those features that they add and it's going to be nothing in the future. But if more people use them, it would be really good and beneficial for everyone. But right now, my first hot take to it, I think, honestly, the UI is a little bit too complicated.
Okay, yeah, there was kind of a lot going on the screen. And obviously UIs are being changed throughout the life cycle of the system, so we'll see what they do with it. But you're right, like everyone would need to hop on board with that, which is especially interesting thing about for multi-plat games.
Right.
So while we haven't seen the new Series X, or have we? I don't think we have seen the Series X or S.
We're Sony fanboys. That's
yeah, we are. It's kind of bad for this podcast at least. I don't think they've unveiled that, so they would need for the multiplayer games, they would need to jump on board with it, because it's either like all or nothing. Because if some games don't have it, what's the point? It'd be weird. But yeah, it was a neat little drop. Overall, looks fine. It's like a cleaner version of the PS4 UI. That's kind of how I would sum it up.
I wish they showed the dash. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah. Not the cards. It's fine.
Oh, you'll find out in a month, right?
Yeah. So will you. So will you.
Yeah, hoping for it.
I believe. But yeah, no, I think it was like a non-factor. It was cool to see it finally. We've been in a drought for any PlayStation 5 news. They're really keeping
Since
everything.
Their showcase,
yeah, they're really keeping it to the close to the chest. And it's nice to see some news, but I think it's overly complicated at this point. I'm not going to know until I have my hands on it. Maybe there's some really good quality of life changes there that I just don't realize now. But yeah,
that's a good thought to have. Like, I think the Microsoft one, the Xbox One, I think it's kind of like cluttered. There's too much going on with it. But like those players, like Microsoft players, they're probably fine with it. They're like, okay, yeah, this is whatever X, Y, and Z. So. It's cool. At the very least, we'll get used to it. But I'm excited for it to actually have my hands on it. And moving into budget gaming, we've got some deals for you. Xbox One deals. We have Ori and the Will of the Wisps for $20.09.
Or you could subscribe to Game Pass, and those are free there.
I feel like whenever we talk about the Xbox deals, they're always lackluster just because Game Pass is just amazing. Like, who cares about the actual like deals? Like, just get Game Pass, right? And so that's why I need to include this. So a new game that was recently added to Game Pass is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition.
How silly did you feel, Alex, when you saw this? Because I actually ended up downloading it.
You did?
Yeah, on my PC, of course.
Heck yeah, okay.
Just to have it. I don't even think I'm going to play it. I just wanted to have it on my PC.
It's like 45
but
hours.
As I was downloading it, I was going, hee. I remember Alex buying this for, is it the Switch or the...
I got it for the PS4, yeah.
And literally I was like, I remember when Alex bought this and I'm getting this for $10.
Yeah, you're just downloading it. So it's cool. It's definitely one of my favorite games. It originally came out on the 360. This is like the HD res version with all like the DLC and whatnot. Really cool if you're itching for like a fun JRPG and you have Game Pass. Totally recommend getting it. Combat system's cool. Characters are awesome. Yeah. PS4 deals. We've got a Halloween sale. Spooky. Dark Cloud and Dark Cloud 2. Oh, that's not the correct price.
I don't even know what that is.
I want to say
it's $14.99.
Yeah, I think it's $4.99 each. So Dark Cloud and Dark Cloud 2, they're both on the PS2. They're kind of like Legend of Zelda-esque games. So
I don't know this game. Is this the blonde kid with the beret? Like that's
that was Dark Cloud 2. He's got the wrench.
That's what I have in my head.
Yeah, and that one too. There was like this town building mechanic. They're fun games. They're not like crazy, but like for $5, or maybe like you've played them before and you want to play them again, like that's cool. Witcher 3 Complete Edition is on sale again, as like literally twice a month it's on sale.
It's crazy because I was actually trying to find it on PC and it's $50. I'm just waiting for it to go back on
next
sale.
Week. It's $14.99 for the PS4 Halloween sale. Nintendo Switch, not crazy deals.
I don't even know what the games these are, Alex.
I don't know what they are either. They sound kind of fun though. Tangle Tower, $13.99, and Yuppie Psycho for $14.99.
I'm looking at this runner show. I'm like, what are these?
What is a Yuppie Psycho? They did have, if you were watching like Prime Day, Target, and Best Buy, those they did have some AAA titles or first party Nintendo deals
which are
for
never
like
on
40.
Sale.
Yeah, they were like $40. I think like Super Mario Party, Mario Tennis, the Yoshis, whatever, they were like $40. So those aren't active right now, so I couldn't include them, but it is what it is. Steam, I think Ralph, you mentioned this last time, the Sega sale, it's still in play. You can download Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for free.
Bad games, all of them.
You don't like them?
I don't like the Sonic games. They don't make sense to me because in my head you're supposed So in my head with the Sonic, because I used to be a Sega kid.
Okay.
I played the Sonic games. When I played them, they don't make sense because you're supposed to be Sonic the Hedgehog. You're supposed to be super fast, but there's also this other mechanic where collect all these rings.
The rings. Yeah.
So I'm like, why am I slowing down for these rings when I'm in my head? You should try to beat this stage as fast as possible.
Yeah, I definitely like the 3D ones more, even though like those have their fair share of problems.
That's so weird because I feel like that's the opposite.
Dude, Sonic Adventure, I have such nostalgia for those games.
Is like that the one with the weird? Oh, we talked about this. The weird like water thing that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know.
That's the
game. Chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like that
games.
game, and then they switch you to stupid cat that was big and
Big the cat.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you know what's great? You know what's great? You should fish instead of play Sonic.
It's made by a Japanese company, so you need the fishing minigame.
Oh man,
that's free. That's Sonic Hedgehog 2 is where Tails came in. That's his debut. Also, Catherine for $10.
I actually want to play that.
Not full body,
which is such a bummer.
Not like the complete one. Yeah. It's just the base game, Catherine, for $10. Honestly, it seems like an interesting game. It's like puzzly, kind of. Yeah.
What do you call it?
By the people who did Persona.
I want to play that game so bad, but I hate puzzle games, and I just want to play it. For the story.
Dude, we should like play it.
We should. Yeah, you should play the puzzles, and I'm just gonna watch the story.
Yeah, that's cool. Epic Games. We've got Amnesia for free. I haven't played it. I've heard like it's super freaking scary.
Yeah, it's crazy that Epic Games. No, I not download it. I add it to my library because I add everything that Epic Games gives away for free. It's crazy that Epic just has money where hey, just have all these free games.
Just take it or do it. Yeah, it's I mean, good for them.
Yeah,
good for them and good for the players that they're able to do that. And before we close out to the outro, want to mention this. Ralph had talked about this last week. Our video game book club, which is going to start up next month, November 1st. We're going to be playing Hades. It's a game by Supergiant Games, indie company. And the idea is that while we play this game, you guys play along with us. So while we talk about on the podcast, it's a little more intimate in that respect.
Send your questions or thoughts about the game through our email or through Instagram and Twitter.
Yes.
We will be doing a giveaway. Alex, when do you want to start doing that social post so that people can start checking that out?
On Wednesdays, as you know, we do have like this question of the week thing for the community. We want to keep it separate from that. So maybe we'll do this on Thursday or Friday.
We'll post about every week until Video Game Book Club starts.
Yeah, so like really like 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll share it on Instagram. We'll do it on our personal Facebooks as well. Basically, there'll be this post, and what you have to do in order to be entered into this giveaway is just share it.
Yeah, and just I think comment.
Okay, so we'll do like and share.
Yeah, sure.
We're saying right now. So you'll like the whatever post you do either on Facebook or Instagram, and also share it to either your story or your timeline. Just to really help us out, and also we want you to play with us for the video game.
We'll do the drawing the week before. I guess that's when we'll do it. I hope you guys get to play that with us. To be honest, I really want to play Hades. That would be the game I would be playing right now if we weren't doing it for Video Game Book Club. So I'm holding off on picking that up for myself, just for you professional casuals, so that we can all hang out.
Right?
Yeah, the fans. I really want to check it out. I love Greek mythology. I love the art style. Love Supergiant. So I'm really excited to check it out.
So there you go.
Yeah.
The average playtime we looked up is 16 hours. There's a lot of like extra stuff you can do. I don't know how much we'll do that just for Video Game Book Club. Maybe like you can talk about the extras like a later month. But so the average playtime is just for the campaign 16 hours. So we'll probably do 4 hours a week. That's how we'll segment it. So, and obviously like listeners, viewers, if you want to play more, that's fine. Just know that for like our podcast, we'll talk 4 hours a week.
Surprise you beat it immediately.
Exactly.
You're just very good.
Yeah, one of my friends was like super looking forward to Hades. Like same with you. He put it off because he wants to do it with the video game podcast. He's like, I'm literally going to beat it in week 1. Yeah. And so
it depends on
nothing
how good
you say
are.
will spoil. Yeah. But don't talk to me about it because then I'll be spoiling for you. Yeah. So super excited for that, and just really excited to have another segment, especially that's connected with the audience. So Speaking of you guys, thank you for sticking around for a 7th episode of Professionally Casual Gamers. We had a lot of fun hanging out with each other, and we hope you did too. If you have any discussion topics, questions, send it over on professionallycasualgamers@gmail.com or on our Instagram or Twitter at professionallycasualgamers. As always, stay safe, register to vote and actually vote, and keep it casual.
Bye!